Avoid the loser's game of trying to beat the market. Hello my dears and welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Sayana. Welcome and thank you for joining me today. In today's video, I am starting a new series where I will be analyzing some of the points I learned in the books or other bodies of work I study. We are going to start off with investing from a book called The Little Book of Common Sense Investing by John C. Bogle. And I hope I pronounced his name properly. Hopefully. So be sure to subscribe if you have not yet, or if you want to learn about investing or be reminded of something about investing, or to get insight on how investing can work for you, or if you just want to hear and learn from what I have to say. Plus, also if you want to watch my other content, because I will throw it in there every now and then. But yeah, come on down, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and yeah, let's continue. But before we begin, I invite you to join me in Mindset Ignition, where I teach you a simple framework that will help you think your way to success so that you can step into the reality of your dreams, goals, and desires, or whatever your endeavor is. So if you want to improve an area in your life, achieve your goals, and you find yourself struggling to get there, you need a little push, you need some direction, a little motivation, Mindset Ignition is for you. And it's currently on sale until May 31st, 2025. Use code 0505. Link is in the description box below. Alright, let's begin. I had always wanted to invest because I had heard such good things about it, but I never had the opportunity to do it because it was an investment to invest in investing. And I knew how much I needed to invest, and since I never had the resources, I never did. But when I landed my dream job, that changed for me. My life transformed because I came from a place where I seemed to always never have enough money to cover my bills. But I also know my mindset was never in the right place. So much so that even when I finally started getting the resources, I was still very scared of spending money and running out. Very terrified of investing and losing it all. And then I had time off. I had so much time in my life, and I prayed over wanting a financial opportunity to invest. I was invited to a conference by a friend, and to my surprise, because she didn't tell me what it was about, but to my surprise, the conference happened to be talking about investing, and my heart lit up with excitement because honestly, that was something that I needed to hear, and I thought that that was a sign, a confirmation that that was the time I must learn about this field. I am very interested in and passionate about money because I never had it, and I know the opportunities it can provide. And I've learned that when money circulates, it always comes back to you. When you don't invest in your future, in your health, in your wealth, in improvement, you stay where you've always been. And that is okay if you like where you are. I'm speaking of those who have yet to reach the level that they want to be on in whatever that area is. It will require you to make an investment. Sometimes a small investment, sometimes a huge, massive investment. And trust me, I still have a lot I want to improve in. So I'm not completely done, and I don't think we can ever be completely done if we want to live our best lives. Now, nonetheless, I want to share with you what I am learning from this book as I'm reading it, and so we will just be learning together. So if you have the book, excellent. If you don't, you can get a copy of it online or at a bookstore. And if you would rather hear the commentary, you will still benefit from this series. Alright, let's begin with our first lesson. Low cost, higher rewards. We are talking about index funds. And if you're not aware of what an index fund is, according to the book, index funds in their basic form is mutual funds that simply buy shares of substantially all of the stocks in the US stock market and hold them forever. So basically, when you buy index funds, they just sit in the market forever. You're holding the stocks in there forever. The goal is to not take them out. You're not trading on a consistent basis. You're not stock trading. You're not buying one stock. You're not XYZ. You're buying a large sum of stocks in an index fund and you're holding them in there forever. We're talking 30, 50, 100 years. It's basically you being part owner of a company. So let's say you had a business and you owned a restaurant or a bank. Well, you're not just going to own that thing or business for one day, 1 week, or 1 month. No, you're going to own it for as long as it can last. Your goal is to make it a success, to stay in business and make it last basically forever and hopefully pass it down or as long as it can function. And hopefully it does not fumble and run out of business or plummet to the ground, because the longer it stays running successfully, the more you profit. The book also states that you must understand how the stock market actually works. So before you start buying an index fund or before you start rumbling into the stock market, anything like that, you want to understand how the stock market actually works. And that's important because this is the business you are eventually interested in, right? So something you want to understand is how the market works. And if you're already in and don't understand how the market works, then start learning how it works so that it's in your advantage or so that it's to your advantage. And as the book states, it's a passive but productive strategy, holding all the stocks of corporate America and standing pat. End quote. So basically, you're just waiting. You're not moving them. You're not going in and out. You're not switching stocks, buying and selling. And there's no need to get so many people involved to try to get rich quicker, meaning so many services to do the work for you because it's moving slow. You're not doing any of that. Remember, slow and steady wins the race. It will just take some time, but it's tried and true. And you know what? I have been in that place where I bought a stock and I chased the stock market, okay? I chased the market and everything plummeted. I was confused. And so it's important to understand how the stock market works so that you're not constantly chasing and losing, because chances are when you chase it, you will lose. Does that make sense? Hit the like button if it makes sense so that I know you're with me. All right, now according to the book, don't do something, just stand there. Basically, what I just stated, the goal is to just keep the money in there forever or keep your stocks in there forever and not try to move them. For that is the only way to avoid playing the loser's game of trying to beat the market. You cannot beat the market. It's full of people going through so many emotions, different emotions, might I say, seeing so many different things, learning so many different stories, or hearing different stories and news that will change in either direction pretty quickly. Unless you've been trading for such a long time that you've mastered the art of trading and enjoy the volatility of the market, otherwise, don't do something. Just stand there. So basically, he's saying stay in, be patient, and don't try to spend so much money trying to get different inputs on how the stock market is going. Don't try to lose money by overspending with all the costs of all the different types of helpers, as he calls them. The people who provide services that are designed to help make the stock go the right way for you. Now, if you don't understand how the stock market works, they may be the right people for you, and that's your choice. But if you understand how the stock market works, it's easier to do it yourself and just follow what has been actually working based on the economy. Otherwise, you'll only get about 60% of the profit, and the rest goes to the helpers and taxes and the costs. So be steady. It's okay that your stocks are sitting there and it seems as if you're only getting maybe $100 a week, a month, let's say, but over time that grows, okay? And honestly, the more money you invest with, the bigger the return. Because think about it, you cannot get older in one day. Yes, every day you're growing and getting older, but you don't turn gray-haired in a week. You turn gray-haired when you turn 60 or 30 years or 40 or something like that, right? Depending on who you are. But it takes time. So yes, it's kind of like thinking that, oh, okay, in my future, I want to make sure that I have a future that is financially safe and stable, and that I can have income in, have money in. When you stay in, you will always win, because even if the market goes down, it will more likely come back up eventually. And that's where the patience kind of comes in, right? Do you have it or not? So avoid the loser's game of trying to beat the market. Sure, it might be going down, but that's when you practice your patience and wait. No need to rush out if you're in for the long haul. Because if you jump out, then you have to start from scratch again and again. And then you're confused, like, when do I get in? When do I not? When's a good time? But if you stay in, you have a higher chance for a higher profit in the future when it gets back up. So avoid the loser's game of trying to beat the market just because you see the market moving up and down so fast. The market is funny, y'all. When you jump in, most likely without a plan, immediately it changes and goes the opposite direction. It's funny, but it's devastating. He said it changes the opposite because the people behind the scenes, right, they know what's happening and they're not following our regular people moves. They are following what the companies are doing. So if you try to chase the stocks in the market, you will end up losing. So once again, avoid beating the market. Try to avoid beating the market, or avoid trying to beat the market, whichever version works for you. Let me know if you're learning something by hitting the like button and subscribe button. Let's continue. According to the book, successful investing is about owning businesses and reaping the huge rewards provided by the dividends and earnings growth of our nations and world's corporations. So those who invest in stocks and stand there have a higher chance of taking home the whole profit. Basically, almost 100% or with fewer taxes by not incurring any costs. So again, you're trying to avoid overspending on costs, trying to beat the market. Slow and steady wins the race. That's important to keep in mind, even in general, in real life. Yes, you can grind and you can do this and you can do this, but allow it to unfold. Allow it to unfold. There are some things that just need time. A plant cannot grow in one day. It needs time. So you have to water it, right? You water it so that it can grow, if that makes sense. The book states that the greater the cost of financial intermediation activity and taxes, the less the net return that shareholders receive. So, if you are an investor, you are a shareholder of the company, right? You are the partial holder or partial owner of that company. So, if you are incurring so many costs, have so many expenses, or pay so many services because you're chasing the market, you are not going to get as much back. And sometimes that's okay. For some people, that is absolutely okay because it's better to get something than to not get anything at all. But for those of you who want to get all of the pie, learn how the market works. Because again, the more you pay out trying to chase the market, the less you will receive. Like I've mentioned, what you profit minus the taxes and costs equals less than the 100% you would have gained. And again, that could be 60%, which is still good, by the way, for some people. Okay, that is still a big number. So don't feel like, oh, you must always make 100%. Only if you want to. But if you don't, you can still take that amount. That's totally fine. If you need help, it's okay to invest in the help you need. Okay? It's okay, and it's actually recommended so that you don't completely crash to zero. If you are the kind of person who is like, I want to get the whole pie, then learn the market, okay? Learn how the market works. Now, another point in the book, it states that the lower the costs, the higher the rewards. Reduce the costs as an investor in order to enjoy the winning returns. So that's basically what we've kind of been covering, right? Lower costs, higher profit, higher returns. It's different, right? It's completely different. You spend less, you make more. And that's actually also similar to if you're trying to save up for something. If you keep spending and spending and spending and going to the stores and just throwing your money out, you end up with way less than you should have. Although your check came out to 100% of what you made, well, minus taxes, right? But now you have way less because you overspent. You incurred so many costs. That's not good. So many expenses. That's not good. If you're trying to make a certain amount, if you want a certain amount left in your account. Does that make sense? And finally, the index fund holds all stocks of corporate America and just stands there, okay? So if you invest in an index fund, you might be seeing that, oh my gosh, okay, this is taking forever. Or, oh my gosh, look at this return, it looks good, right? Remember, you want to generate wealth, not a get-rich-quick scheme. Longevity is the goal with fewer costs for a higher return. And honestly, I finally understood that this year, earlier this year, before reading this book. But after I lost in the stock market, not using index funds, by the way, I asked for wisdom, and I remembered I was taught to stay in for a long period of time. But I couldn't because I was chasing the market. It was literally up and down, left and right every second. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is scary. It was up and down, and I wanted to be up so badly. I was literally chasing it, entering and exiting. And with every move, I lost a ton. But when I finally learned this year, and yes, things went up, things went down, things went up, things went all the way down. But I said, you know what? I remember what happened last time. I'm not doing that again. This time, I'm going to try something a little bit different and stay put and listen to what my instructors told me. And you know what? I gained back everything that I had lost and made some more. So yes, it's okay to just stand there. Okay? Let the index fund hold your stocks and just stand there and wait, because you will reap the benefits. Alright my dears, that's it for today. If you made it to the end of this video, leave a $I signed emoji in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe if you have not yet, and hit the like button so that you can be sent another video of mine when I do post it again. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and yeah, don't forget to subscribe. The link for Mindset Ignition is in the description box, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.